Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Vault Jersey. Joe Archino back here. And apparently, for Carmelo Anthony, the losing is starting to be a little bit too much for him to handle. His quotes after the loss to the Raptors one night where the Knicks did fall 122-95, where it's been tough. It's challenging. It's challenging to kind of stay strong and positive through all this. And if people have listened to me before, you know my standpoint on Carmelo. I have never shied away from it. I've always believed that he has been one of the most overrated players in the NBA for years. I really don't get what people see. If you really pay attention to the game and you look at how the game is played and you understand how the game is played and just why players like LeBron succeed, why efficiency is what wins in the NBA, you know why Carmelo Anthony is such an overrated player. But people like flash. People think when you put up good numbers, you're a good player. Carmelo Anthony is what he is. He's a very talented scorer, one of the best in the league, but that's all he does, and that's all he'll ever be, is a good scorer. Has never showed a commitment on the defensive end. He's never had efficiency. He's never made an impact on the game where it really matters in situational basketball. He really has been caught time and time again showing a low basketball IQ. All those things added up, and on top of that, not being a great teammate, has gotten in spats before. Carmelo is a guy, if you have to kind of wrap it all up and define him as a player, who's about Carmelo. He's always been a guy who wants his points, who wants his money, and if he gets those things, he's happy, and the Knicks are in a situation where he's getting exactly what he wants. I've always believed Carmelo's the kind of guy where if he wins a ring, it won't really matter to him because he's made so much money throughout his career. He's making so much money now, and he puts up a lot of points, and people generally accept him as one of the best players in the league. He's getting the recognition as one of the best players. He's putting up his points. He's getting a lot of money, so why would he care if he's not really winning things? He's getting everything else that he wants, and there are players like LeBron where it bothers them. You knew LeBron, it was an obsession to him until he got that ring. That's all he cared about. That's all he wanted to do. And he did everything in his power to make that happen. And he by doing one of the hardest things he's ever had to do, and that's turn his back on the city that he's a part of, that he tried to revive, that he really took and carried on his back to the NBA Finals. Obsession is something that matters in sports. When we're obsessed with something, we will chase it to the ends of the earth. We'll go to the darkest places. We'll put our bodies through whatever it takes. We'll do uncomfortable things. And that's really what it takes. And I don't think Carmelo has ever shown that commitment. And now, he's saying that the losing is getting hard to take. And, I really don't know if I even buy it. I really don't. Again, I think Carmelo is what he is. You can't knock him as a scorer. But when you look at all the other facets of the game of basketball, the ones that really matter, the ones that Steph Curry excels at and LeBron excels at, and the ones that made Kobe Bryant such a special player, I'm not putting Carmelo Anthony anywhere in the same breath as those guys. He is a great scorer, and that's all he'll ever be. He'll never win anything significant in this league. And it still amazes me to this day why people think that this guy is one of the premier players in the league. To put it all into perspective, Carmelo Anthony's been out of the first round of the playoffs 2 times in his career. 2 times Carmelo has been out of the first round. That right there tells you everything that you need to know. If this was such an impactful player, he would clearly have done more, and he clearly would have made it further at some point in his career. But the mere fact that he's only been out of the first round 2 times in his career tells you everything you need to know about the player. The players in this league who truly make their mark, play both ends of the floor, show a commitment to ball movement, just show a general aptitude of understanding the game, putting in that work to have a general understanding of floor awareness. Carmelo's never had those things, and it's the same thing as a guy like Dwight Howard, where Dwight Howard is the same player as today as he was when he came into the NBA. Not the quite same with Carmelo, but it's similar in principle in the fact that he is what he is. He's always accepted that, and he's never really changed. And people always kind of said, well, Carmelo could play defense. He could do those things, but he won't. And at this age, he will never become anything different from what he already is. And it's one of those things where I firmly believe in basketball that offense is a skill set. It's something that you develop over time and it gets better and better. And clearly for Carmelo, he's always had that skill set. But defense is a mindset. Anyone in the NBA can play defense. You don't have to be a world-class defender like some players, but anyone can play defense. It's something that elevates you in the NBA. We see a guy like Bruce Bowen, what he did with the Spurs. So many people will tell you the mere fact that Bruce Bowen, he's one of the most unlikely stories of someone getting into the NBA. But you know how he made his mark in the NBA? On defense. Defense truly separates players in the NBA, and it's a mindset. It's something anyone can do, and it's something Carmelo has always refused to do. The losing, all of this stuff, again, I just never buy it. I really think he is what he is. He wants the money. He's always prioritized that over anything else, and he's in a situation where he'll probably ride out his career because the Knicks are kind of handcuffed with his contract, and it's their own doing. The day that they pulled off the trade for Carmelo was the day that they went in the wrong direction. It just is. I mean, how many players do you have a conversation about? I mean, remember when the whole Jeremy Lin, the Linsanity sensation was sweeping things? Carmelo Anthony was hurt for the longevity of that period, and people kept on asking, well, are the Knicks going to get screwed up again when Carmelo comes back? If you're asking questions, and if you ever think your team might be better without your star player, well, that tells you. I mean, did we ever say, man, would the Heat be better if LeBron was out for some period of time? Would the Cavaliers be better if Kyrie Irving was hurt for some significant amount of time, wasn't playing? No. It's something that we've only ever questioned about Melo. Not Tim Duncan, not Kobe Bryant, not Stephen Curry. It's always been a Melo thing. And I really think if you look at the game and you understand the game of basketball, you know this is just what Carmelo is, and he's never been in the same breath as those other guys. There's nothing wrong with being a great scorer. There's been tons of great scorers in NBA history, but for him to command the type of money and to command the amount of attention and be placed on the pedestal he is to people, it's not justified. He's never done anything to earn that title, to earn those justifications. Everything in life and in sports has to be earned. And he's really earned nothing in the NBA. He's been out of the first round of the playoffs 2 times. He's gotten in fights with teammates. His conditioning has never been great because, to be honest, I mean, when you look at him, you question, how has he really shown a commitment to putting his body in the best shape to handle the longevity of a season? He's been injured a lot, and that right there is an indicator that maybe he hasn't always taken the best care of his body, and that's why, to me, Melo's always been about Melo. That's him. He's always been known for saying, I just need to get my shots. Well, clearly, if you need a kind of term to coin for a player, it's I need my shots. That's all he ever needs. He gets his money. He gets his points. He doesn't get wins. And that's really Carmelo Anthony in a nutshell. Some guys like LeBron are obsessed with chasing that original title. And until he got it, and even then, he was still obsessed with getting more. And I just don't know if that same desire has always been there for Carmelo. Some guys just are in it for the money. Some guys like Jadeveon Clowney in the NFL, probably one of the highest rated prospects we've seen in a while, but he was really a guy where you question his desire to play the game other than for the financial incentive, and that's some players. That's just what it is for some guys. But the real ones who are committed and obsessed with winning, Michael Jordan had it, LeBron had it, Magic Johnson had it. All the great ones have that obsession, and it's just never been there for Carmelo Anthony, and it really never will be. I've said it many times, and I think a lot of people agree, some people disagree, because, again, a lot of people will place this guy unjustifiably on a pedestal, but Carmelo Anthony will never win anything significant in his NBA career. He will always have numbers, but if you really know the game of basketball and you really understand things, you know that this guy has all been about the numbers, and the numbers, quite honestly, don't mean much. When you don't have anything substantial to back up those numbers, like wins, like titles, they don't mean anything, and a lot of his points throughout his career have honestly been meaningless. Even his coach, George Karl, has said that Carmelo has just been a guy who just puts up the numbers. That's what he is. He puts up the numbers, he takes the money home, and that's about it. That is Carmelo Anthony in a nutshell. But I know people are going to disagree because that is just the way things go with Carmelo Anthony. There are people who will always place him on a pedestal because the people who don't really understand the game of basketball, not knocking ever, but I mean, you know what you're watching. But if you really pay attention and you and you look closely at the true guys who succeed in the NBA, they don't do what Carmelo Anthony does, and there's a reason for that. But until then, Jersey Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino, on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino, and I'll see everybody next time.